Today it is red IPA time, but I'm not brewing this one.
Hi. Hi, and welcome to Lauren's takeover of Martin's Homebrew Challenge, where he's brewing 99 beers in 99 weeks. Let's make that 98 because I'm brewing this one. And today we are making our red IPA. Today we're going to be brewing a 2.5 gallon batch. So we're going to start with 4 gallons of water and let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start with 2 grams of gypsum. Measure it out. 2 perfectly. Awesome. Then I'm going to do 3 grams of Epsom salt. And then 5 grams of calcium chloride. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and dump it in. Alright, and next I'm going to add 2 milliliters of lactic acid to balance the pH.
So we all know what an IPA is today. Stands for India Pale Ale. A lot of people don't know where it actually originated from. So IPA actually originated in England when they were ruling over the East. They had to come up with a beer that could travel from Britain to India. It was too hot to actually brew over there.
So I went ahead and I added my ingredients. I'm gonna do my mash at 152 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna come back in about an hour and check and see how it's doing.
So around 1780, the guy Hodgson jumped at the opportunity to make a beer to see if it would travel well. Turns out it did. The 6-month grueling trip from Britain to India, and they loved it. Americans actually started to recreate other different English beers. So it's kind of weird to think and funny to think that an IPA was made from Britain to go to India, to come back to Britain, to be made popular again in America. Kind of cool. So, not to toot my own horn, but I am the skill behind the thumbnail. So I just wanted to kind of show you how I personally pour my beers for the videos that Martin does. People pour differently, but this is what works for me with these taps. Usually I will take my glass. I don't personally like chilled glasses, but that's just my preference. And I will hold it at a 45-degree angle. One thing you really want to do when you're pouring a beer is commit to pulling on the handle. If you don't, it's not going to have enough airflow coming through, and then you get a lot of foam and head on your beer. So let's see if this works. And about halfway, 3/4, I like to just straighten it up a little bit, just so that you can get that really good head on the beer. And then we just want to close it off. And then we've got a pretty good beer, I say. I'm gonna drink it. Cheers. Okay, so the red IPA we're making is it's kind of a new sort of beer. It's actually says here that it's one of the newest sub-styles to come out of the American IPA category. I previously said before that one of my favorite beers Martin's brewed so far is the Irish Red Ale. So when I saw that it was a red IPA, I really jumped at the opportunity to help with this one because I'm curious to see how it will compare with like the hop profile and the maltiness with the red Irish Ale. So for this beer, I used 4 different malts, with Maris Otter being my base malt. The other 3 were Vienna Malt, Caramunich II, and Carafa Special I. So I did my mash at 152 Fahrenheit, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my mash out at 168 Fahrenheit. So I did my mash out for about 10 minutes at 168. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the grains. I'm going to get a little bit of help right now because I don't really trust myself, so.
Well, I'm glad I could be of some service, Lauren.
Thank you. So I went ahead and I pre-measured out my hops. So what I'm going to be doing is at the start of the boil, I'm going to add in my Simcoe. And then 5 minutes before it's done, I'm going to add the remaining Simcoe, some Centennial, as well as some Cascade. So after I was done with the boil, I went ahead and chilled my wort. I also added my yeast. I'm using Ringwood Ale 1187. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my stopper in here, and we are gonna ferment at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. See you at the tasting. Hello.
Hey.
All right. So here's our red IPA, and I'm very excited to try it. It was a lot of fun helping brew this, so I want to see if my hard work paid off.
Helping brew it? You did the whole thing.
I did. Okay, I did the whole thing.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me to the tasting, because I am also extremely excited to see how this one turns out.
So let's look at the appearance of it first.
Yeah, so just when you brought it in, it looked like it's really dark. But
Say dark.
but when you actually hold it up to the light, I think there is a good amount of color in here.
Yeah, I agree. When I was pouring it, I was like, wow, I thought this was going to be more red. But once you do put it up to the light, it's a very, very, like, a deep copper, I'd say, or like a dark crimson. So now let's check out the aroma of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting a little bit of the fruitiness of the hops, and also a little bit of the sort of darker malt bill I can smell.
I think it smells quite light on the malty side, honestly.
Yes.
The hops is more overpowering on it, but there is a little toasty smell to it, but it's not too crazy.
It smells like a beer that I would really like to drink.
Well, you're in luck. All right, let's try it.
Okay.
So, my opinion is that it tastes really good. But I can definitely taste that it's kind of like, we talked about the hybrid sort of beer. I definitely can taste like IPA notes in it, but then it's kind of like mixed with like, what's that one that I'm thinking of? Like a red ale, right?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. You've got two things going on in here. You've clearly got that sort of malty taste from the red ale that we had before that we liked, sort of a soft malty taste, I think. And then there's no doubt about it, there is a good amount of hop character in this beer as well. So it really is a balancing of two things, the sort of the maltiness of the red, and then the hoppy aromas and the tastes. I really like this one.
Well, again, thank you for having me. If you want to make this at home, you can go ahead and get the recipe kit at Atlantic Brew Supply Store, and the recipe will be down low in the description. And on that note,
cheers!
Cheers!